On the 31st of May 1878, in the grounds of Carlton Hill Prison in Edinburgh, Eugene Marie Chantrel, a Frenchman, was hanged for the murder of his wife Elizabeth. He had been convicted of poisoning her with an orange laced with opium. Chantrel studied medicine as a young man in his birthplace of Nantes, France, but the prospect of a bright career was cut short by his father's sudden bankruptcy. Thrown into exile from his homeland because of his involvement in the coup d'etat of 1851 against Louis Napoleon, his travels eventually led him to the city of Edinburgh in 1866, where he met and fell in love with the 15-year-old Elizabeth. She fell pregnant by him when she was barely 16. The strict moral conventions of the times dictated they marry. The sordid details of this marriage, such as stories of his violence towards his wife and frequent infidelity, explain how the jury became so set against him throughout the trial. The couple lived at number 81A George Street, a building that still exists today, and in the back bedroom the events of the 2nd of January 1878 began to unfold. The maid had heard a strange moaning sound coming from the room. She went in and saw her mistress lying motionless on the bed, the sheet drawn down halfway in a muddled heap. Her skin was pallid and her breathing heavy. She went to fetch Chantrel at once. When they returned, Elizabeth was still insensible, her skin still pallid and lifeless. Chantrel then said he could hear one of the children crying, but the maid had heard no sound. She found all the children still fast asleep. On her return, she saw Chantrel standing by the window, which was now open. He said that he could smell an escape of coal gas, and ordered her to turn the gas off downstairs. He then left to fetch a Dr. Carmichael, who lived nearby. It was overpowering enough for Dr. Carmichael to insist that Elizabeth be removed to the clearer air of the nursery, so he could examine her. There, he smelt the odour of coal gas on her breath, as if the fumes had passed through her lungs. Strange, then, that at her post-mortem no trace of coal gas could be found. But, by that window in her room, a disused gas pipe was found, its edges freshly torn by wrenching. All that was found at the post-mortem were fragments of orange in her stomach. On New Year's Eve 1878, Elizabeth had retired to bed early, feeling ill. She asked her maid to peel an orange for her, which had been brought by one of the children. The maid placed it on a nursery stool beside the bed. It was in this innocuous piece of fruit that Chantrel was supposed to have administered the opium, and thus poisoned his wife. Opium, in hard extract form, was found in black stains on Elizabeth's bedsheet and nightdress, together with a dark yellowish stain containing fragments of orange. Since similar fragments had been found in her stomach, it was supposed that the opium had been vomited together with the orange while she was alive. And in Chantrel's possession, drugs were found, stashed away in a locked press, one of which was extract of opium. No trace of the opium was found at the post-mortem. At the trial, a Dr. Littlejohn, a professional toxicologist and police surgeon who helped conduct this post-mortem, put this down to the action of her vomiting in life. For him, it was quite possible she had ingested the bitter juice of the orange mixed with the bitter resin of the opium without knowing it. He asserted that the dark opium stains pointed to her cause of death, and that the extract on the sheet was a poisonous dose. Despite the post-mortem providing no clue as to cause of death, or any direct proof being found against him, Eugene Chantrel was found guilty of the murder of his wife. He never confessed to the crime. The night before his execution, he wrote a statement in which he strenuously denied to his children that he would ever harm their mother. He died the following morning, a man far from home and at the end of an unsettled and unhappy life. The jury gave their verdict based on their opinions about his character, rather than because they were certain of his guilt.